we just briefly mentioned with Amber Gustafson, the Whiskey Widow, about Giving Hearts Day. It is just around the corner on Thursday, and we are so excited to highlight some of the people doing great work around our community who are part of Giving Hearts Day. We're friend raising too. We're finding friends in the community to get on board with these nonprofits, to understand more about who the nonprofits are in our area. And Kari Bucholz is in studio from Haley's Hope. Kari, welcome to KFGO Radio.
Yes, thank you. Excited to be here.
I don't think it gets more personal than Haley's Hope. You know, I was reading about your story on your website and educating myself, and I realized, like, you know, this is one of those nonprofits that you need to hear because you weren't elected by a giant board of people. Fundraising hasn't been your background. This is about your family, Kari.
Yeah, thank you for kind of bringing that up. It truly was a different direction for not only myself, but obviously for my son and family, to take this challenge that was in front of us and figure out how to make it better, right? And not only just better, but extremely successful within our family. And of course, you know, we say it's 1 in 5 that are dyslexic, and I just felt I needed to help all those other students and adults that are struggling and just didn't have a place to go.
So let's go all the way back to the beginning. Let's talk about why Haley's Hope is in reality today.
Oh gosh, way back. So I say my husband Kevin and I have 2 children. Our daughter Summer, 3.5 years older, you know, as a new parent, just worried about her going to school, making friends, you know, eating lunch in the class or eating lunch and, you know, all those things. Never worried about the academic part of it. She was always just would do her homework on the way home from school in kindergarten, 1st grade. And this little boy came along and not shy at all, just, you know, very outgoing and talkative and funny. But when we sent him to school, I never had to worry, but we were told early on that he wasn't keeping up with the rest of the kids in his class. And I said, well, what, you know, I don't know. What do you mean by that? Not keeping up? Is he, you know, talking? Is he being behavioral? And they're like, no, I don't know. He's just not keeping up. So that put me on this journey of about 2.5 years trying to figure out why this intelligent, bright, funny, happy kid was not learning like his peers. And then pulling back socially and emotionally, and between him and I and family, you know, crying and fighting at night trying to do homework. And we did neuropsychs and eye tests and vision tests and hearing tests and private tutors and, you know, therapy at school. And it didn't help until I followed this little word called dyslexia and just figured out what was the root cause of his challenges with learning our language. And that's what it is. It's learning to read. It's understanding those black marks on a page and then putting them to use, right? Understanding what they mean. And that's what we do all day long in school. And as an adult, too, I mean, just look around you. There are letters and words everywhere, even as we sit here, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't know what those mean, life can be frustrating.
So 2.5 years is a very, very long time. A very frustrating time, I can really imagine. And the goal of Haley's Hope is to keep people from having to go through 2.5 years of the same struggle. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how really I kept going, but I kept going because I was losing my son, right? Not being happy and just socially and emotionally. And the goal, yes, of Haley's Hope is number one, so that other families don't have to go what we went through to try and find those resources. We drove every week for 6 months to St. Paul to get tutoring.
Wow.
And within a month, we saw his life change and our life change. Now, you know, still hadn't been an easy path, but we knew there was hope at the end of that tunnel, right? And when I found out after I got some training that it was 1 in 5, I just knew that I know there's other students out there in classrooms that are struggling and families like ours that are fighting to do homework every night for, 1-2 hours and crying and screaming. And, I've had kids that have been hiding in garbage cans during the school day because they don't want to be seen. So it is not just a reading issue. It is a social, emotional health issue also.
So what kind of resources has Haley's Hope been able to bring to, the metro community to, our entire region?
Yeah. So first and foremost, we need to be able to identify the reason why students and adults or whoever it is are struggling with literacy, right? We need to have good understanding of the testing and what those things mean. And then we need to be able to intervene with Orton-Gillingham type tutoring method, which really is structured and brings the language that we have down to its tiniest little piece of hearing, processing, understanding our letters, and then trying to blend those letters. So it is a very structured process of learning how to read.
All right. And so on Thursday, we're talking about Giving Hearts Day. Haley's Hope is going to be one of those charities that is listed on the givingheartsday.org website. I should say this too. How long has Haley's Hope been in function?
Right. We opened January 1st of 2011.
Wow.
So we've been around for a little while, and we was, working prior to that. So, we've touched probably, I think we figured over 2,200 families in the last few years.
I mean, that's amazing. And I like how you say, don't just say students, but you say families, right? It is about the entire family.
It is the entire family. And part of our theme this year is Team Up with Haley's Hope, because we know it is not just us. It's that parent that is frustrated and starts to identify what's going on. It's that teacher that says, you know what, I think it's more than what I know about. It's business people in our community talking about it and helping support us not only financially, but just education-wise. So it is a family and a community challenge.
When someone goes on and they're going to donate, are you raising money for something in particular this year? What are we looking at for Haley's Hope on Giving Hearts Day?
Yeah, so we have expanded our programs over the last few years. And we started a summer academy 2 years ago, which has been wildly successful. And we want to add another layer to that and do middle school and also early elementary school for our summer academy. And one of the other things we're really working on this year is creating a parent education course.
Oh, bravo.
That helps not only our parents and families understand the depth of dyslexia and how it affects their students and themselves, but also one for the student themselves, because we talk about dyslexia that, Susie is dyslexic, but Susie doesn't really know what that means. And so we want to start educating our parents and the students about the power of dyslexia, right? And let's not fear it. Let's embrace it and understand that it brings out our great abilities.
And I feel like the word dyslexia has been lurking in the shadows, right? It's something that we don't want to bring out. You don't want to say it, and you feel like it's cursed in a way. But that's the first step in understanding, and that's the first step in giving their life back to somebody.
Absolutely. And it's no different than anything else. If you're ADHD, if you got diabetes, if you have a broken leg, if you have a broken arm, if you're having, migraines, you have to find out what the reason is behind that. And dyslexia is the reason behind 20% of our population having struggle with reading, writing, arithmetic, right?
Yeah.
Math too. So it's nothing to be afraid of. I always say that there are great entrepreneurs and famous people that are dyslexic, and you can be very successful. We just have to give you that confidence, and that's really what it is.
Yeah, it is not it's not a kiss. It's not the kiss of death, right? It doesn't say like, unfortunately, you're now in this box and you'll never achieve anything in your life. Be like, nope. We just need to understand the tools. We need to understand the structure, and guess what? Your life right back to you.
Absolutely. When I first started this, dyslexia wasn't a word. It was the D word. You couldn't say it. So I'm so happy now these few years that we can at least say the word. And so we are poised and ready to help as many as we can.
Well, if you've been listening to this interview, we've been talking about Haley's Hope. Dyslexia. It is not in the shadows anymore. It's okay. It's not the D word. We're saying dyslexia, and Haley's Hope is providing so much to the region. And if people want to donate on Giving Hearts Day or today, pre-giving is open and flowing right now. You can support some of those great programs that Kari is talking about. We'll get this podcast at kfjo.com as well. So if you heard a chunk of this, and even if you thought, gosh, this might be part of the puzzle that I'm working on right now, you can find out. If people want more resources or want to read more about Haley's Hope, how can they find you?
Absolutely. Our website, haleyshope.org. There is a little survey on there to take that you can take at home to see if maybe your student fits that profile. And as easy as just making a phone call and chatting with somebody at our front. Erica's awesome to visit with. So we welcome conversations, and if that leads to a screening, that's awesome. If not, we're here to help whenever they need that.
Kari, thank you so much for coming in. I hope you have a great Giving Hearts Day this Thursday. GivingHeartsDay.org. You can do your pre-giving. You can also find a bunch of those awesome charities. Put your profile together, log in, and make some of that magic happen, because it's the biggest day of giving in our entire region. Again, Kari, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. And thank you to DMF for all that they do for all of us nonprofits.